Welcome to Community Partners Interview, where we explore the organizations, opportunities, and resources that make change in our daily lives. I'm your host, Jocelyn, and you're listening to Voices for Ability Radio. All abilities, all the time. Today, I'm joined by Paula Murphy, Executive Director for Pegasus Toronto. Pegasus provides adults with developmental disabilities meaningful activities and community engagement to facilitate growth, dignity, and choice. Thank you for joining us today, Paula.
For having me.
So first, tell us a little bit about yourself and what inspired you to work for Pegasus.
Okay, so I've been involved in the field of developmental disabilities for well over 30 years. I began when I was in college working in group homes and have gradually worked for different organizations in different roles throughout the past 3 decades. When the job at Pegasus came open, the founder, Marie Parada, had announced her retirement, and someone reached out to me. Someone on the board of Pegasus at the time reached out to ask if I'd be interested. I wasn't looking for a job, but I knew about Pegasus. I always admired the work they did and the values that they showed. So I thought, okay, sure, I'll throw my hat in the ring. And after many interviews, I was the lucky one that got the job. So I've been here now for 9 years and love it. I absolutely love it. I love our team. I love the people we support and everything we do here.
That's great. It's really important to be able to feel that way about your job. Your website is really detailed, lots of great information there. So I noticed a lot of the different programs that you have. So why don't you start by telling us about your day programs and respite services you offer during the week?
Okay. I should note that our website is about 5 years out of date. It's currently being updated, but it's a work in progress. So it says we're celebrating 25 years, but last September we actually celebrated 30 years. How Pegasus began just very quickly is Marie Parada, as I mentioned, is the founder. Her son was graduating from high school at age 21, and there was a huge, long waiting list for things for him to do during the day, and she was worried he'd lose his social connection. So she just, casually approached a local community center, said, "Hey, would it be possible for me to use some space in here? I have some adults who are graduating from high school with nothing lined up," and so. At the time, it was a lot easier to get into, the community centers. So they agreed to it and, Pegasus began. So currently we offer 5 different programs during the day for community participation support. So people come to us from 1 to 5 days a week, and they're in small groups embedded in the communities. We have 3 programs in City of Toronto community centers. And then we have 1 program that is in a commercial condo that we purchased in 2019. And then just this past August, we opened our 5th program, and it is specifically for participants who are facing increased needs due to aging. That could be physical or it could be dementia. It's a specialized program, nothing like it in the community. And the staff are trained specifically in supporting adults with developmental disabilities who are showing signs of aging and dementia. So as I said, people come from 1 to 5 days a week. And then what used to be called respite, which we don't really refer to as respite anymore, but we have 2 programs that run on Saturdays, and they're really social recreational. So people come and join us for the day, and there's 2 different programs. They do all kinds of things, either out in the community or they do things within the spaces that they're hosted in.
That's good. Definitely a lot of important programs there. So it says about that you guys have like small family-like groups and person-centered support. So maybe we could talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So each individual that attends Pegasus from Monday to Friday has an individual plan for them. It could be goals that they want to work on or things they want to do. And annually, we have those meetings to determine what it is they want to do throughout the year. The groups are very small with really good staff to participant ratio. They're mainly about 1 staff member to about 2.5 to 3 participants in the 4 original programs. Our aging program is a lot higher. It's one staff to 2 participants because of the increased needs. So it is a very close-knit team. There's, 4 full-time, and then we have some part-time and relief staff who work together, and they work in this small group. And they're very much like a family, each of the programs that we run, because it is not this huge group of people. It's upwards of, it could be anywhere from, like, I'm going to say 7, the most, 12 people who attend each day who need support. So they're small groups.
So there's a section on your website called A Day at Pegasus. So maybe you could talk about the goal-oriented learning and the community participation and life skills and things like that.
Sure. As I said, each individual is we work with each individual to see what they want to do. So some of the people we support go to paid employment. So we help them, we'll go with them, and then it's called job coaching. We will, help them complete their jobs if they need it. So some of the places where they have paid employment are coffee shops or grocery stores. So we do that. And then we have, it could be someone who wants to learn to read or wants to learn, money management or whatever. We would work on creating some kind of system to help them learn that. We have some people who want to volunteer, so we look for volunteer opportunities for them. And then a lot of the community, we're very much embedded in our communities. And so we always want to be able to give back to the communities. We look for opportunities to do that. One example is in April, in Toronto, there's something called Clean Toronto Day, something like that has to do with Earth Day. So each of our groups will sign up to clean their neighborhood. So it's going outside of where their base is and cleaning up all the garbage that has accumulated over the winter. And we've been doing that for years. So things like that. We deliver the local newspaper in some neighborhoods in order to give back. We have a participant that volunteers in a local out of the cold lunch program. So it really is individual to see, what is it people like to do? What do people want to do? And then how can we support them to do that? We also have a secondhand store, which is a social enterprise, which helps fund our organization. So it has paid staff, but it also has community members who volunteer, as well as some of our participants volunteer. So they volunteer alongside community volunteers and doing things like, working the cash or sorting and tagging items and whatever they can do with the help of a store support counselor.
That's good. That's a lot of important skills that people are able to learn.
Mm-hmm.
So I also saw that you offer programs, with things like fitness and wellness. So maybe you could talk a little bit about those.
Yeah, for sure. So we're really lucky in that we benefit from charitable gaming. So there are gaming centers throughout Toronto and actually throughout Ontario where we provide, not-for-profit organizations provide volunteers to help with them when they run their different, bingo calling times or whatever. So we've been involved in that for a number of years. And so the funds that we receive through charitable gaming, we are able to use them to purchase specialized services. So some of those services are, we have an adapted Zumba instructor who comes into the program and gets them moving. We have an art teacher who comes in. We are able to hire drama facilitators, special music facilitators, and then we also use it to pay for our film workshop facilitator who works with each of the program locations to create short films. And those short films are then put together in a film festival, which we host every fall. And then we also get submissions from other organizations in the Toronto surrounding areas who make short films of adults with developmental disabilities. They create the films, they come up with the ideas, they do the filming. Sometimes they help with the editing, with the costume, everything. And so the gaming funds helps pay for that facilitator as well. We're able to offer a lot of unique kind of programs due to the gaming funds.
Yeah, that would help out. And you definitely have a lot. Like you've got so many different things to offer. Everybody's bound to find something they like.
Yeah, Exactly.
So I also saw that you guys have a Pegasus shop. What kinds of things do you sell there?
So it's our secondhand store, which we're really proud of. We sell housewares, clothing, women's and men's clothing, shoes, accessories, uh, books, DVDs, records, magazines, knitting supplies, children's toys, some toys and stuffed animals and books, coats, yeah, all sorts of stuff. Our community is incredibly generous. They donate stuff to us. We sort through it. We put in the store what we can, and then some of the higher end things that get donated to us, we actually put on our online store. That is something that's new in the last year. We have a online store with a higher end items. So that wouldn't be on our website that you're looking at currently, because as I said, we're redoing the website. But that online store is it's pegasusshop.ca, and you can see some really beautiful items there. So that the revenue from the shop, and it also is an opportunity for the people we support to interact with the community, so that the community is aware where their donations are going and who they're helping. So it's right in the community. Our office is right above it, and it brings in quite a bit of our annual budget.
Oh, that sounds really good. If I'm ever in Toronto, I'll have to check that out.
Please do. Great stuff there.
I also noticed that you have something called monthly program sponsorship. Can you tell us what that entails?
Yeah, so it was an idea we had a few years ago about, trying to do fundraising. As we know, you always need fundraising when you're a not-for-profit. And although we do get some funding from the Ministry of Children, Community and Social Services, it's less than 40% of our budget. So we're always looking at ways of trying to raise money. So this was just an idea we had, that if people wanted to sponsor specific programs, in order for them to be able to purchase things that we wouldn't necessarily have the budget for. And at the time, we only had 4 programs, but they're all very, very unique in every way, in their personalities and what they like to do in, their external interests. So we thought it was a way that people could connect with a program that they might have felt a connection to. So, for example, one of the programs, are really heavily into coffee. So, could someone sponsor them to get a fancy coffee machine? Whereas another place, they never use their coffee pot, but they might be more interested in specific art, or, it's something like that. So that was a way that we thought we could get individual sponsorship for program-specific purchases.
Are there any restrictions to becoming a member of Pegasus Toronto, such as your type of disability or your age or things like that?
For our Monday to Friday regular programs, you have to be registered with the DSO, which is Developmental Service Ontario. So you have to have a formal diagnosis of a developmental disability. But for Saturday programs, the 2 Saturday programs, as well as our new aging program, you have to have a developmental disability, but there's no requirement to go through the DSO. And the DSO it's kind of like a funnel for everybody, every adult who has a developmental disability. They have to be registered there, and they're put on a community needs list, and then they're matched with a vacancy. So if we were to have a vacancy, we have to declare it to the DSO, and then they refer people to us. So there is that requirement. But all of our services, the primary diagnosis is a developmental disability. We are able to support people with physical disabilities as well. We have a wide range of abilities that we support. So, someone who is ambulatory and is able to take the public transit on their own. And then we have people who use wheelchairs for mobility, who may not communicate verbally, people who get their nutrition through a G-tube. So a wide variety of abilities and needs, and we are able to accommodate.
That's great. So without using any names, can you share a success story with me? What supports were put into place when somebody asked for help, and how did that benefit them?
A great question. Oh boy, let me think. I think, a lot of times, specifically people who may have higher needs, such as, what I mentioned about someone who may not communicate verbally and who may use, a wheelchair for mobility. and get their nutrition, not orally. It's a very niche population to be able to support. And our staff receive, really great training and are able to provide that support. And I think for families who have children, adult children who have such high need, it's a really scary thing to trust, strangers basically to provide support. And, we don't take that lightly. We understand how much trust people and families are putting in us. And so I think, we do have people who have come to us with those needs. And at first, the family may stay for the day and make sure. And, they inevitably realize that our staff are very well trained and that their loved one is very safe and being supported and doing things that they have never done before. Going and getting volunteer jobs or paid jobs or meeting people that they that we have people who go and meet the local politicians in order to try and make connections there. Or, we put expectations that people are able to live life like anybody else. And so I think, as opposed to one specific success story, I think most of the people we support are success stories because they have meaningful days, they're engaged in activities they like, and they are part of and contributing to their communities. And I think, if what we know about the history of people with disabilities, it's a very different time now. And I think, just that fact of people being part of their communities and being accepted and, respected in their communities is success in itself.
Yes, that's definitely important. Very true. So what is one thing that you see happening repeatedly that concerns people with disabilities? And how do you that shouldn't be happening? And how do you think that it could be stopped?
Ooh, I think, it always comes down to funding. There are so many people in Toronto who are on wait lists and, well, not just Toronto, in Ontario, but organizations like Pegasus have, all our costs have gone up and up and up, and our funding levels haven't gone up and up and up. And so, there's that need for finding resources, trying to maintain staff when you don't have a lot of resources, trying to put together really great programming when you don't have extra resources. So the people that we support often have a funding. They do get funding to pay for supports, but it always is, it's never enough. And, there's so many people who need more financial support in order to be able to live a life that is, meaningful. So, funding has always been an issue. It'll always be an issue. But the fact that people are on wait lists for so long, and, we have so many parents who are aging, and what's going to happen, and how are they going to how is their adult children going to be supported after they're gone? And it's just a constant worry for many people who still have their child at home. There are people in their 80s who are still supporting their adult children in their 50s. 60s, right? There's so many out there and probably so many we're not even aware of. But yeah, it's always about funding and resources. So there may be resources available, but no funding for those resources. So that is a huge barrier for people to be able to participate in meaningful activities and be part of their communities.
Oh, definitely. Like in every community and every agency, seems to be a problem with that right now. So, are there any events that are upcoming for Pegasus Toronto that you'd like to talk about today?
Yeah, for sure. We participated at a few external markets, the spring, summer, fall, all the fun farmers markets and spring summer markets happen. So we are participating in a few of those over the course of the next few months. You have to apply for them and then get accepted. So we're excited about that. But our biggest event is our film festival. It's called PIFF, PIFF. It's the Pegasus Incredible Film Festival. So that's happening this year on September I want to say September 27th. We have a beautiful new venue, Parkdale Hall in downtown Toronto. And it's an amazing event because, it's a short film festival, and we have submissions from other organizations, and we do red carpet, we do photographers, we go all out. We have the merchandise and everything. And when you see someone who has typically not been in movies, when you see someone see themselves on the big screen for the first time, it's an amazing feeling. You have people who, representation we know is so important. And so to be able to see themselves or someone like them or their friends on the big screen it's quite remarkable. It's moved me, sometimes tears, when I see people's reaction, because we just make sure that they are celebrated, because they are part of every step of the way of the films. And they get out on that red carpet and they're all dolled up, and the photographer's there, and they're made to feel like movie stars because they are for the day. And so anyway, that is happening on September 27th of this year. And you can go to YouTube, PIF Toronto, and watch some of the past movies, and you'll see what I'm talking about. They're quite amazing.
That does sound amazing. I'll definitely have to check that out. And if listeners are looking for more information or want to get involved, how can they reach out to you?
They can always, contact me directly through my email or my phone number. Happy to share that. My email is pmurphy@pegasustoronto.ca. And the phone number for my direct line is 416-691-5651. And, if people are interested either in working or volunteering or donating or anything like that, they can reach out to me and I can direct them in the right place.
That's great. Thank you for joining us today. Your organization sounds amazing, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners will find that very helpful.
Well, thank you for having me. I do appreciate you reaching out and being interested in what we do, because we're really proud of what we do at Pegasus. So happy to share.
That's great. It's definitely very incredible. And this has been a Community Partners interview on Voices for Ability Radio, all abilities, all the time. Thank you for joining us today.